And welcome to another bright morning on Enterprise Television. I am Kingpin Producer.
And I am Henry Igwebike.
All right, we are delighted to start the new day with you. As always, we begin with a quick look at today's newspaper headlines before diving into the major conversation of the day. You don't want to miss a moment with us, right? You can join the conversation by liking, following us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. You can also share as well. Yeah. So joining us this morning is Barrister Evans Ufeli. He is a distinguished lawyer who will be sharing, experts' insights on these issues before us. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so very much, Barrister, and he joins us from Toronto in Canada. Thank you so very much, Barrister. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's kickstart today, interestingly, with the first newspaper on our desk. We have so many newspapers, actually.
Yeah.
About 4: Vanguard, Punch, Guardian, Daily Trust. But I love us to start with the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Okay.
We have on the top strip, we have Governor Keifas Muftwang of Plateau State finally dumps the PDP for the APC.
Wow.
Plug into the center.
Okay, the big story here: allegations of a terrorist, 2 former governors prowling insecurity, Tuju Bello.
All right, so we equally have Dangote alleges sleaze at NMDPRA demands investigation.
Okay, still on the top strip, we have pension savings under pressure as FX investment growth slumps to 1.6%.
Well, we have another interesting one here.
Okay.
1 week after NAF C-130 Hercules aircraft, 11 soldiers yet to be released. That's from the federal government.
Yes, it is. We also have Dangote alleges slays at NMDPRA demands investigation.
And also to our sports angle, we have Super Eagles need a better coaching to win AFCON 2025, and that's coming from our former coach, Joe Bonfrey. Well, I do not know if he desires to take over the job from Chela. But Barrister, I'd love us to take on the big story here. Allegations of a terrorist, 2 former governors fueling insecurity, and that's coming from the notorious Tuju Bello. What's your take on this?
Who are the 2 former governors he mentioned? We need to know the 2 former governors that have been so mentioned, because it's not just 2 governors. We also have past governors, and we also have some highly placed persons who are fueling insecurity. The federal government have a list of their names, those who are sponsoring them, those who are giving them all they need, all they require to attack and cause chaos in the Nigerian society. So we've seen that is not a new thing, except that I would have loved to hear the name of the 2 governors under reference, because I believe that the details of that story should be able to mention the names of those governors. And in doing that, we'll be able to direct this analysis very well. The federal government have considerable knowledge of both the insurgents and those sponsoring them, in a sense. But what the federal government lacks is the political will to prosecute them and bring them to justice. And that in itself have called for a lot of deliberation. People have gone as far as saying that some persons in the current government sign agreements with insurgents. Now, I won't blame them, because tell me why the government is unable to take out the terrorists. Why? Why are they unable to do that when they have all the paraphernalia of state to have that done? And the bandits and the terrorists have become so emboldened that they do videos now and do giveaways and even mock the Nigerian armed forces. Okay? And this is now a spectacle, because all over the world now, we have been seen as a country with the weakest military operation. I listened to a Cameroonian that was talking about Nigeria yesterday online, talking about the Traore and the jets that was seized in Burkina Faso and the rest of that. And it was making a lot of ugly statements about the Nigerian army and the rest of that. The Nigerian state entirely. Okay? Yes, we've lost the big brother, the giant of African stripe. We've lost it. We're still losing so many other edges that we have been so good at in the past. You understand that? So, if a country's leadership fails to reclaim its glory and to take decisive measures to end insecurity, it will only lead to things like this. The whole world is going to look at the country as a weak one, a country with military prowess, and the rest of that. And so, the situation is unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
This is just the big question we keep asking ourselves. Who are these people
Yeah.
flowing this insecurity on these bandits? I just hope one day we just get the answer, because we keep on asking the same question. And this brings me to, talking about the governance failure. So, Barrister, how, or policy failure rather. So why has insecurity, persisted despite leadership change?
Yes, that is exactly what you're saying, that you had a change in leadership. A leadership that promised to continue from where the previous left it off. You understand? It's a leadership that have accepted the fate of the status quo. That's what it means. You continue from where, you see, successive leaders or successive leadership in the country have made things worse than they were before. Yes. Because before Tinubu came into power, the earnest desire of the Nigerian is to see that Boko Haram ends, okay? Yeah. And everyone was grappling with that. But this man came, instead of him to focus on that, he destroyed the economy. It's like pulling the wood out of our legs, and all of us are drowning now. So we're already confused by insecurity. Then he came and brought economic insecurity. And till now, he's not able to do anything about it. What he's doing constantly now is to keep demarketing the country by his partnership, the partnership or whatever it is having with the French president, or with France president. Okay, so this in itself has given us a whole cause to worry, because what the government should do is, when it assumes office, we identify the challenges. You identify the challenges, then you come up with strategy to curb these problems. You understand? That's how you go about problem solving. If you don't identify the challenges, you cannot. If you just jump into it, you add to the problem. That's what this government did. It didn't identify the challenges. It didn't sit down one day and map out strategy on what to do. It just jumped into the fray and took decision on the first day in office. You understand?
Yeah.
And people say he's a genius. President is a genius. Okay? So it took us almost 500 years backward. And to have a setback in current day Nigeria, to have a setback, you know what it would take to bounce back? We cannot afford to have any setback. We can't afford it to have a setback under this kind of economy. A wise man would have thought it very wise. And, look at the economy wasn't as bad as it was, or as it could be at that time. But, it became worse because the president scattered everything. He hasn't built a block on anything he scattered till now. He's just going about the circle of the problem he created. He has not done anything. Part of even why you have this transient defection too, is still tied to this economic nonsense, because even the governors are all confused. They are thinking about how to reclaim their seat and not about governance. So it's not a good sight at all.
Not a good sight at all, Barrister. We agree with you right here. But let's take a look at other matters from the Guardian newspaper. This is more like a transition. The big story it is Buhari's legacy on trial as Emefiele, as minister, face a 3.5 trillion naira graft approved. We have a picture of the former Bayelsa State Governor Silva. We have Ngige, we have Emefiele, we have the aviation minister. All of these people added together. I would love to believe the current administration are trying to ensure that they get one or two from them. But what's your take on this, really? Is it fair to say the chicken has come home to roost for this former aides to former President Muhammad Buhari late?
That is practically almost 40% of Buhari's ministers. That's practically because under Buhari, people were just stealing. He didn't know what was. He would tell you he's not aware. He understand. They took advantage of his lack of awareness and his lack of control of the situation, of the economy and the situation, to do a lot of damage. In Ngige's case, you can see that the EFCC have a very strong case against him. If you look at the charges, you see that he awarded contracts to his associates and then use an account to receive kickback from all those contracts. And you can see it's a very strong allegation. They have a very strong case against him. They've done tracing through the bank system. They've traced everything to the account he called Dr. Ngige Scholarship Account. Okay? That's that. Then you have other persons. You have the former minister for disaster and something. The one that Better Edu took over from.
Yes.
And did the same thing that her predecessor did. It's also on the list. Team Silva is on the list. Okay, with different diverse allegations. And you see, these many persons you have seen now with these diverse allegations, the reason why Nigeria is where it is today. And this is not the first time when you have government officials that are supposed to go out there, use the resources for the betterment of the good of Nigeria and promote patriotism and integrity. They will not do that. They will take the money and go and do something else with it.
But Barrister, it is looking like, sorry to interject here, but it's looking like it's like a circle, a transition from one administration to another. This current administration would still make the same mistakes that the next administration will use against it. So why is it difficult for these pockets of people to learn from what has happened to people before them?
They cannot learn because it's a system that is screwed in a way that when you get into office, you don't want to come out from that office poor, because people think that wealth is about material acquisition. They think that wealth is about material acquisition. These past ministers and government aides and other, how much money do they actually need to be comfortable? So they go in there and start stealing. Instead of them to do the job they are supposed to do, they start stealing. You understand? Yeah. That of Better Edu, the first real bulk money she saw was the one she stole. Her administration have not started when she stole. You understand? So this is slave mentality. You are not able to get leaders that can do the right thing. You're not able to assemble leaders that can do the right thing. That's what this president lacked. During Obasanjo's time, one of the credit you give to Obasanjo is his capacity to get the right persons for the right assignments. You understand? You see what he did with NAFDAC at that time. You see what he did at the education level, where he appointed Obioze Kwesiri, where he appointed the minister for finance and whatever, the economy and the rest of that, Okojo Iweala and the rest of that. You can see the kind of ministers that I had at that time. Okay, the minister of the FCT. Okay, the kind of ministers they have at that time were all with optimum performance. Not like there were no bad ones among them, but you can see that the number of the good ones outnumbered the very bad ones. Okay, and it was quick to actually remove those who were bad, who were not performing. You understand? So, but compared it to now, what you have is just a jamboree. Buhari came and devalued governance in Nigeria and didn't leave to face the consequences. He didn't leave to face the consequences. Okay? So what you have now is people just moving about. The moment this administration ends now, the next one that will take over, they will start to probe all those who have been in this, and it's the same thing. The stories are the same. The patterns are the same. Behavior is the same. Lack of patriotism. Nobody is thinking for Nigeria. Nigeria is just an orphan. Nobody is thinking for that country. Nobody is doing anything to protect the image of that country. Everyone is exploiting the country at the same time. 200 million people. Even the people on the streets, they are defecating on the expressway. They are defecating on the country's image. Even the ones that do not have opportunity to steal are destroying public infrastructure. Yes, the ones who have opportunity to steal are looting. The ones that are not looting are destroying properties and the rest of that. You know, so when you have people, when you have a system where the people are an anathema, they are profusely focused on how to bring things down. The country cannot move forward. The country cannot move, and that is why these little African countries around us have one or two non-state actors that come to the internet to talk, to say things that they do not know about. Just because many of them also forget that the existence of Nigeria is the reason why they have a country. Otherwise, many of them wouldn't have a country. So this is not a good, we are not in a good place as a country at all.
So could this reshape Nigeria's corruption narrative globally? Do you think even after the graft probe, there can be a change of narrative globally?
Yeah, that will have the EFCC. EFCC is quite credible in the eyes of, especially as at the time it started, when Obasanjo created it in 2003. And when it fully kicks off at that time, EFCC have been a mark of respect, even globally. It is now that they are losing their grip entirely when they now have officers who go and collect bribe. Before now, when they were very strong in their assignments, we got good rating. In fact, our debt, part of the reason why they forgave Nigerian debt was Obasanjo's creation of the EFCC. It was one of the factors, one of the considerations. Because corruption was fought truly at that time. Even now, pocket of it, you still have the fight. At least, it may not be watertight, but you have the likes of Yabelo and Gige and so many other past governors who have been put on that trial, who is facing trial. So many of them have been convicted before. The ones convicted by EFCC, Buhari gave them pardon, But we've seen considerable level of, and perhaps that's why maybe that's really strange of hope that the international community places on the fight against corruption. But we need to add to it the fight against insurgency. We need to do something about it and do it effectively. The fight against other kinds of corruption in society, the one that has to do with, petty behavior that put us in a bad light. We have to deal with them one after the other. We need to create more institutions to do that and do it effectively.
All right, Barrister, let's take a look at a one-party state which is becoming a very big problem in Nigeria. We have it that center once against one-party state, cites Zimbabwe example and others across Africa. Plateau State Governor just moved to the APC. Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan had been met severally to move to the APC. Everyone is being, cajoled to move to the APC at this point, which is defining that one-party state might be what we would have come 2027. PDP is in disarray. Labour Party has lots of issues. Do you think this spells doom for Nigeria come 2027?
It does. We are not, our politicians are not resolute. And there's no one of them that's actually different from the other. That's the truth. There's no one. You see this Fubara man that we're doing analysis day and night
yes.
2 years ago to last year to this year. We're calling on the heavens, calling on all kinds of gods, calling on everything that we know to redeem this man, to help him to find a way to stand his ground, to fight godfatherism, to make him, and the rest of that. I was surprised the other day that he was shouting on your mandate, which I stand. He was singing it with a cracked voice, a very bad voice. He was singing it, and I was looking at him. I said, look at this Fubara man, look at this man that were saying that he should be allowed to be his own man. Nigerian politics does not give you the room to be your own man, to define yourself and stay true to yourself. Nigerian politics does not give you that room. We were discussing not too long ago because I was called to run for the House of Rep in my state by very highly placed people, and that this is what it will be. And someone called me and said that, you see this thing they are going to do, you are going to lose everything that you have built on based on integrity on this decision. You're going to lose it because it's not enough that you are called to come and do this. Will you be allowed to do what is right when you are called to come and do it? Now they will pretend as if they are giving you, support. Of course, the support will come. Then you are giving latitude, okay? But when you now become that, they will now put you under some very stringent conditions that will paralyze you. Yes, that's how Nigerian politics work. It doesn't work like this thing that you see these guys do in America. By the way, I just met this guy, the one that came to Nigeria. Is it Flemmore?
Yes, Moore, yes.
Okay, yes. I met Flemmore 2 days ago. They just returned. Okay, wow. It's my age mate. You understand? I think I haven't seen him in 1 month or 2 months. You understand? And we're talking about Nigeria. And really, when they say the United States is just trying to get our resources and all that and the rest of that, when you listen to these lawmakers talk in Parliament, and you listen to the analysis, and the feedback they got, because he is a strong Catholic, he's a Christian. He was talking about how that those who profess the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ are being completely exterminated, and that the idea is a ground one to ensure that everyone who professes that name is killed. That's exactly what he was saying. He was saying, I was standing there, we're talking about that. Okay? So if you look at what Nigeria has become, it's so deep that you're just sorry for the coming generation, what we have done to this country collectively, either by commission or by omission. You see good people when they go into politics, strong Christians, strong Muslims, believers, when they get there, the Nigerian politics and the way they play it, before you know it, you are started telling lies. You are started telling lies to your constituency, you are started telling lies to your people, you are started telling lies all over the place. So it's a decision that if you want to do the politics, you just begin to think about what's going to happen to what you have built over time. Is it worth it? Can you withstand the pressure that will come with this kind of politics where it is about lies, it's about falsehood, it's about stealing, it's nothing about the integrity of anybody. That is not what they promote in Nigerian politics. What they promote is the ability to swindle, to say lies, turn around, deceive people, pretend to be for them, turn around, take resources and divert it and the rest of that. You understand? You'll be wondering, you'll be surprised. Well, this person had integrity before. What happened? What has happened to him? And that's exactly what is happening to Fubara.
Yes,
Fubara
I'd love to
cannot
ask
escape.
you, Babasta, sorry to interject yet again, but don't you think this is built on lack of personal contentment? Because if one has this contentment and you are given pressure that you can't hold on to, what is bad in saying I am no longer interested? So don't you think it boils down on personal lack of contentment than the system that is pressuring you to do the wrong things?
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, lack of contentment, you are right. It's not, I'm not disputing that. It's a factor. Lack of contentment and some other factors. By the time you get in, you want to remain in, okay? And because you want to remain in, you begin to condescend. Even when the intention is not to, even when the intention is to be upright, you begin to consent to some overwhelming majority factors. You just find yourself in it. You'll just be thrown out. You just see yourself as a misfit. You understand? This is what I'm saying is because I've been in one or two government assignments. You understand? I've been in one or two government assignments. Even till now in my state, even though I've asked them to remove this thing, but they still allow. I've been in one or two government assignments. And when you are in this government assignment, there are times when, I've been in meetings where the reason we gathered, I found out there, was how we're going to falsify documents and collect money. Meanwhile, when we got a text message to converge for a meeting, you will not see that there. You will not see that in the agenda. But when we got there, the top issue on the agenda is how we're going to swindle government, and we're in government. Now, this money we are supposed to steal is the commonwealth of the people. Many of them are in villages. They have no water. They have no hospital. They have no roads. They have nothing. And so we are supposed to come together, conclude, have a meeting, collect the resources that should go to them as oil bearing, share it amongst ourselves, and go home and sleep well. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. That is what the meeting was about. And when I say I cannot be part of it, they start to blackmail you. They start to do all sorts. There was even a threat that I should not enter my village again. I said, I shouldn't enter a village. Because I committed an offense against the gods of the village, or because are you excommunicating me? So you get funny threats. Very funny threats. Because they have normalized criminality. So when you are there and then you are telling them that this is wrong, this is not why we're on this assignment. We're on this assignment to bring succor to the very weak in society. We're on this assignment to do the needful, to make sure that people have what belongs to them by right, by the existence that they are human beings. But these guys, they don't want to think about that one. They don't want to hear that. What they want to do is to bring that money, buy big cars, take security, and then flood the village, go into the village with big cars. drive all over the place. They carry women and frivolities, finish the money, all the vanities. That's exactly what they want to do. But it's not all of us that want to do that. I cannot take money that belongs to people and then go to the house and then sleep and wake up and I have children. I can't do that. Let the whole world go and do it if they want to do it. No, I'm not raised like that. These people were not raised by anything. They were raised just anyhow. They have no conscience. They have no. So not all of us will do it. We cannot all be useless in society.
When Natasha Akpotiuduaghan was celebrating her 46th, and a documentary was actually done on all that she had done, not just in her constituency, but beyond her constituency. Yes. And that was when we learned, actually, that some senators get as much as 1 billion. Plus, it all depends on where you belong. You get 10 billion, some get 5 billion and all that. And we're asking ourselves, if Natasha could do all the things she is doing, building maternities, building schools, and so on, how then? And why is it that lots of other senators don't even do the same thing? And they're representing constituencies. Imagine how much goes to some of... It's crazy.
You know, that's what the barrister said. He said, all bring him to matters. Yeah. He was not brought up that way. So that's why he didn't give in. So sometimes, even if these people are being brought up well, you know, being that, okay, they've experienced one or two things, or, you know, they've exposed themselves into so many things. So they might not want to give in integrity. They might not want to have that contentment, right? And I feel that what Barrister just said now is more of like an eye opener to we, or to, you know, Nigerians that don't even know about. Some of us might even know about it, but we'll be like, okay. One day, you know, this.
Well, it's one day. So it's always believed that Nigeria is a big elephant. You just come, you know, cut as much protein.
So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so very much, Barrister. And just to let you know, Barrister will be around to take us on our main conversation when we return. Northern elders demand end to FIRS France tax deal, warns of sovereignty risk. That in a beat is still Enterprise Morning. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back.
Thank you so very much for joining us. This is still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for today. The Northern Elders Forum NEF has called for the immediate termination of the Memorandum of Understanding MOU signed between the Federal Inland Revenue Service FIRS and France's tax authority, Direction Générale des Finances Publiques. In an open letter addressed to the federal government and the National Assembly, the forum warned that the agreement poses a serious threat to Nigeria's economic sovereignty and national security, describing it as a dangerous tax data agreement that could expose the country's most sensitive economic information to foreign control.
Very true. The letter signed by NEF spokesperson Professor Abubakar Jiddere argued that the MOU goes beyond technical cooperation and amounts to an unprotected gateway into Nigeria's tax infrastructure. Now, the elders cautioned that France's historical engagements in Africa have often led to economic manipulation, political pressure, and long-term dependency urging Nigeria not to repeat what they described as costly mistakes made by other African nations. Now, they warned that granting a foreign government access to tax data could expose Nigeria to economic espionage, surveillance, and geopolitical blackmail.
Now, let's get talking. We still have Barrister Evans Ofeli joining us from Toronto in Canada. Barrister, it's so sweet that we have you, especially with your level of experience as a lawyer. You must have had one or two cases in tax and all. What's your take on this particular matter brought forward by the Northern Elders Forum, especially connected to the neopolitical persistence of France in other Francophone countries that we can see is not doing them well in their various economies?
Yes, I think that call from the Northern Elders Forum is very, very important because it was Achebe that wrote in the Arrow of God that if an elder is at home, the she-goat must not be left to suffer the pains of parturition on its tether. At a time when most countries in Africa, most Anglophone, Francophone countries rather in Africa, are distancing themselves away from France because of that long dependency on the resources of their colonies. Okay, that is when our president is embracing France and then bringing them on board, to the point of engaging them on tax issue, violating our economic sovereignty. I don't care the response that the government gave. I've seen the response. The response is superficial. The government tries to say that no, that the MOU is based on its advisory, and they are not giving out tax data and information, financial reports to that is advisory, is this, is that, and the rest. But they didn't show us the content of that agreement. We need to have the content of that agreement. It's nowhere. It's classified. That document must be declassified and put in public domain so that we can look at it and ascertain from a legal standpoint whether truly it is just advisory. And because they argue there that the government argued there that France have had a good tax system for decades, which is true. France have one of the best tax laws in the world because tax in France, they were almost 40% because education is free up to master's level. Okay. And so when you start to work, you begin to contribute for those who are coming behind. Okay. Because the ones contributed by people ahead of you are the ones they used to pay your fees and settle all that. So no doubt they have a good financial system. They have a good taxation policy and laws, okay? But they are not using any foreign country to manage that process, okay? It's not a different country that's managing that process. Here we have the FIRS, which is established by law to take care of this issue. You understand? So when you bring a foreign country into it, you are violating the law that set up the FIRS. That's the truth. Because the FIRS is supposed to look into it, cater for the financial issue as regards tax, and make policies and laws around it. Okay. So if you want to have a bilateral agreement with a foreign nation, it should be something that we do not have the expertise. You understand? It should be something like maybe we don't have the expertise. Maybe like the angle that the president is supposed to seek for foreign intervention, he will not do that. Our armed forces, for example, need foreign alliances to fight insurgency and to fight insecurity. He will not do that. He will not take that direction. He claimed to be an accountant. He claimed to be a tax expert. He wants to widen the tax net and widen everything and kill everybody at the same time. But he will not think through on priority. That has been the problem of this president. It does not know how to prioritize. It doesn't know what should come first. It doesn't know scale of preference. That has been the problem of this president. You think that you can model everything at the same time, just be modeling things. You understand? They want us to believe that no, we should think deeper about it. That this thing is about consultancy, and they made it look like, is it coming free? Have they made it known to us what it's going to cost us to have this thing, this thing that we can handle ourselves? We have tax experts scattered all our universities, both in accounting department and the law department. Whatever France is bringing to board, we as tax consultants know where France even got theirs from. And then we can handle this local. This is not anything we need foreign expertise. Taxation is not anything we need foreign expertise. You can even copy the model without bringing them on board. But because he just wants to be in France every time, and he thinks that we enjoy it as citizens. He thinks that we enjoy it as citizens. You know, the consequences will linger. Now, the content of this MOU, we don't know, and it's going to be binding on us. It's going to be binding on us. And this is a call to the National Assembly, if you still have one. By Section 12 of the Constitution, okay, any bilateral agreement of such nature, before it can become binding and part of the policies of this country, the National Assembly must rectify that MOU, that bilateral agreement. Must rectify it, must bring it under municipal ratification by law before it can be binding on us and the rest of that. This, have we looked at it? Is it going to serve us? Is it going to serve the purpose for which? Or we're just doing it because we want to be in bed with France all the time, and we just want to make sure that at a time when people are distancing themselves, countries who have seen the dominance and the long exploitation that France have, in its sleeves against African countries, small African countries, big African countries, whatsoever. Most of their colonies don't want to even hear about them again because they have underdeveloped a lot of places. The likes of Mali, the likes of Niger, the likes of, don't want to hear about them. So this thing about it's not like that. They should go and look into this thing proper. I see this as a frivolous venture. It is self-serving. It is nothing to write home about. There's no explanation they want to give us. There's no explanation they want to give us. Because even when France start to make contribution in this tax thing and all that, it's from the standpoint of their own country. In their country, they have potable water. When they tax people, they give them potable water. They give them light. When they tax them, the people have light. The people have gas. They have central sewage system. They don't defecate on the expressway. They have central sewage system. And their tax cover all that. Okay? They have roads. Good roads. There are no potholes in France. They have all the basic amenities for a functionable society. They have everything. Here, from last year to this year, we've been talking tax. As if this government that's talking about tax have provided amenities, basic amenities for the people it intends to tax. Taxation comes with responsibility. We're not ready for the responsibility. We're just looking at the money and the population. We're looking at the money, calculating what they're going to get. The number of people who are above 18 is this. Number of people working is this. Number of people earning this is this. If we do this, we are going to get this money. That's what I'm talking about. And this is what is talking about tax. It's about revenue generation. Nobody is talking about the amenities that the citizens need to be sane, to be able to pay tax themselves. Nobody's talking about it. So I don't really know what this government wants to do, because if you push this country to a point where people will revolt, and then whatever 10,000 or whatever army or police you have will not be able to contain the revolt that will follow this lack of tact and lack of doing things the right way.
Well,
it's not a good policy. I don't believe in it, and I think that the federal government is lying over the true intent of that alliance. It's an unholy alliance.
Okay, so Barrister, does the MOU risk, does it violate Nigeria's data protection or sovereignty laws?
It does. Now, there's no way you are going to come up with such an MOU on tax that you're not going to review. Before, if I want to consult for you in your company, let me use that example. If I want to consult for you, let's say we're talking about management consulting.
Okay.
And I want to help you solve a problem in your company. What are the things I will ask for? You will give me the number of staff you have.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
Number of you give me your data, your projections, what you have done so far, what it has given you. You understand?
Yeah.
What you earn per annum. Then we'll do the projection of what you can get by virtue of my consulting.
Yeah.
Nobody consult without information. Otherwise, you'll be doing so. So they can tell that to school children that they are not going to. Why are they telling that? That data sovereignty, economic sovereignty, everything will be exposed to France. That's the truth, yes, because they will not be able to do the job without those data. What are they administering if those data are not there? If the data are not there, there's nothing to administer now. Wouldn't they want to know how many of your citizens are taxable and the model?
And they want to know everything.
The model, the existing model and the previous model, and do a comparative analysis and come up with a report and how they're going to do the job without being exposed to your data and your all that. And this is something we can do. This is something we have capacity within to do that. It costs us less. Why are we always pushing it out there? And why is it that this president is always interested in anything money, tax, finance, and everything? It was his company that is single-handedly collecting revenue for Lagos State. Anything that has to do with money, tax, that's where you find him. You will never find him in governance. Why is he always about money, tax, and all that? How about potable water for the people? How about roads for the people? How about other facilities that are in other countries where he visits? He's been to France on several occasions. Why can't he get Macron to get an economic team to come build the Nigerian economy? Why take out tax? Why don't you assemble? Even France have a formidable army operation. Why can't you get them to come address insecurity? Or why can't you get them to come and address power, energy? You understand? There's so many. That's why I say this president don't know how to prioritize. They said he's a genius, that if you not say anything, if you not criticize him, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. So our priority is not the issue of tax or governance. Let him get the right consultants to fix social amenities, electricity, and the rest of that. I know that now we have liberalized it to state government and that. Get me to collaborate with the state government if that's the case. Focus on the things you should do first. When the people have all social amenities and things are working smoothly, nobody will quarrel with tax or who is managing it. The countries that beat the drum of tax are countries that provide essentials. There must be medicals, public health care.
But then again, could you do you think this agreement can be legally challenged in courts?
Of course, it can be challenged.
Okay.
Why not? Can file a case against it, citing sovereignty as it can be challenged. It can be challenged because the government cannot keep doing wrong unchallenged.
All right. Yes. So, barrister, because it's very important you talk about this decision being challenged in court. But let's get down memory lane for a bit. I'm not holding brief for the FIRS or the Nigerian government, but let's maybe do a devil's advocate here. In the 50s, when Akintola Williams and Co. Was the biggest indigenous accounting and tax firm in Nigeria. Then came Deloitte Toshe Limited from the UK. And now we have Deloitte Nigeria, which is on the backbone of Akintola Williams and Co. At that time, I love to believe, the data is not there, but I love to believe lots of people equally raised eyebrow that it wasn't good. And maybe they would have loved Akintola Williams and Co. to be there forever. But they needed experts at the time, which I love to believe this French tax company is bringing to Nigeria. Don't you think that makes sense to some extent? If you juxtapose it with Deloitte being a backbone of tax in Nigeria and accounting, supervision and advisory today.
My quarrel is not so much about the tax, but about the citizens and governance and priority. This president does not know how to prioritize, and it should be taught how to prioritize. It should know what should come first. If we are going to have external hands on anything, it should be about security first. It should be about security first. Because the one he's dealing with that is using foreign whatever to want to deal with now, it's an issue that can be dealt with internally. And why even delegating or alienating that particular sphere to France? Why France? It has a very good tax system, correct? I know. But why France? Why are you bringing France into our sovereignty? Why are you giving them so much leeway into the Nigerian affairs? Why? That questions we want to know. It's not all of us that are in bed with France. Not like we hate them. No, we're not excited. You are excited with France, and we are not excited. I'm not. So, my take on this is the lack of priority, the lack of knowing what to do, the right thing to do, and how to manage it, and the constant drumming about taxation without the necessary facilities on ground. The unnecessary drumming of taxation upon the hollowness and the emptiness of this society. It's the citizens that are going to pay this tax. The citizens are the ones that are going to pay this tax. Okay? Those citizens are not empowered. They are not empowered. Companies can afford it to pay the establishment to pay, the citizens are expected to pay. Even the companies are not empowered. Most of them generate the elections for themselves. And so it's becoming a harder place to do business. And even with the new tax regime, it will become harder. More companies will see you. Because you don't have
the federal
anything
government
provided.
Yes, the federal government actually last week released about 20 names of social media content creators that will help it propagate the tax information so that Nigerians would understand. Some of them have pulled back to say they won't be used, by the APC to propagate all of these messages and more. But Badis, speak to us on the perception that we will be showcasing to the world. As we speak today, 11 of our military personnel are still being held in Burkina Faso. Our C-130 Hercules is still there, which shows that these little countries do not see us as anything any longer. The Sahel states above us don't regard us for anything. Now, with our fraternity with Emmanuel Macron and France particularly, what damage do you think this would further do to Nigeria's perception in the sub-region and internationally?
It's serious damage already. That's what I'm talking about. I watched a full video of it last night on what these people are saying about that. Now, I didn't even know about this tax thing. They are bringing them and all that. And these people are seeing all these things you are doing. I will have a pending case in Burkina Faso. You understand? Do you know that the same France, the Burkina Faso government, early this year, imprisoned 4 of their citizens on an issue. I can't remember the issue, but it dealt with sovereignty too, just like this. Detained them for so long and refused to release them. France had to go to Morocco to speak to the king. They now had to intervene before they were released. And France had to pay 60 million euros to have the 4 of them released. So you call them small African countries, but gradually they have come to themselves. They now have an identity, albeit undemocratic. When you call it undemocratic, they are happy with the kind of government they have, because democracy hadn't done anything for them, by the way. And they are boasting that the C-130 might not be released and that the people might not be released. That the Nigerian government said that these people were going to Portugal and that they consulted the Portugal government, and the Portugal government said they are not aware of the visit. So you have that case pending, instead of you to address it as priority. Because nobody advises the president. Nobody advises him. So it's just anything they like, it does, it's not in order. It lacks order. There's never a day it's in order. You have that issue there. They are saying now that they are going to, they are most likely going to put them to trial. Because the Portuguese government said they are not aware of that visit. Because that was the excuse they gave, that is what they were going to. No matter where you are going to, and no matter the altitude you intend to fly, it's not like the sea, where 14 nautical miles away from the shore belongs to humanity. You can be there and do anything there. All the fish and the resources there belong to humanity. You can fish there. But you cannot fish within 14 nautical miles of any country's shore. It's not like air. It's not like water. For space, for space, even if you are going to fly 50,000 miles, 50,000 feet above sea level, or 60,000 feet above sea level, even if you are going to fly at that high, you still need authorization. So for the aviation, it's quite different. You need authorization. So if you don't have that authorization, and it's not a commercial jet, it's a military jet. So an issue like that borders on diplomacy that ought to be addressed, because the greatest grievance that the Francophone country have against Nigeria is the current Nigerian president's relationship with France. There's no other thing they are holding against Nigeria other than that. So this is the time as a president, you know, your actions, your words, your stimuli, your whatever you do have larger implication, influence. Whatever you do, the optics matters as a leader. The optics matters. Not like he even pay attention to these countries. He doesn't pay attention to their affairs. Just about France, France, all the time, France. He doesn't pay attention to their affairs. So at the end of the day, they believe that it supports what France is doing to its colony and countries across. That's what they think. And so whatever they are doing is in response to all that. And the president ought to know this. We're not saying you cut off ties with France. We are saying that this excessive embrace have implications. And the implications, you have to look at it. If not for your sake, for the sake of the country that you represent as a president. It's important. You don't even have ambassadors to start with, that will help to cushion the effect of this action in these countries. You don't have. The ones you are appointed are people, some of them are character deficit.
Our social media content creators. That's what we are. Very so sad. You know, this is even, you know, when you take a look at, you know, historically, you know, how many countries have distanced themselves with France. A very good example is Rwanda. After the genocide in Rwanda, which people felt that France equally had a hand in that because they didn't even intervene for any reason. Paul Kagame, when he, you know, started out again in Rwanda, had to cancel their lingua franca. Then they speak French. He turned it around and said, we are no longer interested in having France and French as our language. They started speaking English in Rwanda because they never wanted to have anything to do with France. And here we have a country like France, and we are beginning to embrace them like they are Simon's twins. It's actually very sad.
We're going to see results. I just hope the result comes out well, because I see no reason our government should just keep, you know, allowing this. Just like what Barrister said, if only this country, France, can even provide us amenities, these important things that we need in our country, like, you know, good road, security, and the likes of them. I think we would even be happy to embrace them to come
and help us with our tax and everything.
Positively, right? So
because if there's no security, who would now pay the tax?
Exactly. It's still the citizens. And one thing about this tax is the poor man that will still pay that more of that tax. Yes. And most of our content creators, they are not really doing the whole thing so well, and they are even exposing the middle class or the poor masses. They are exposing, okay, take for instance, you go on TikTok and you start hearing, come, let me teach you how to make 200 million within 2 days. I'm like, God, if this government should see, they will think we have money in our house. What is really going on? So
well, all of those will be taxed, hopefully, come 2026. Well, that's our time for today. Thank you so very much, Barrister. We truly do appreciate your time. as always.
My pleasure.
Yeah, beautiful. So let's call it a wrap, and just to let you know that more programs will be coming up on Enterprise Television. So stay tuned, stay glued, and equally share if you may. You can always find us, read up on everything we have when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally rewatch and equally share with your friends and your folks, and when you visit us at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike.
And I am Kehinde Bodrin.
Have a